Baylor football is playing 12 games this college football season. Which games are the locks to win, the maybes, and the definite losses for Baylor football? This is Locked On Baylor.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Baylor. I'm Drake Toll alongside Cameron Stuart. He works for Inside the Bears. So if you ever wanted to know what it's like when they put this little mic, what is that, endoscopy? Endoscopy, when they put the scope down inside, you would know better than me.
For sure. Yeah, let's go with that.
Endoscopy, where they put the scope down the Bears' throat. This guy, seen it all. Inside the Bears, Cameron Stuart, Sports Illustrated branch. Yeah, been inside. Today, Cam, I want to go over. We didn't tell you what we're going to do in today's episode. So go pull up the Baylor football schedule. We're going to go over. Also, your lighting sucks. We're going to go over.
I can fix that.
Okay, sweet, man.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. We're going to go over today's show. Baylor's locked on games, the games that they're going to win. Baylor football in the upcoming fall. In part 2. Baylor's toss-up games, the games that could go either way, and then the games that Baylor will not win, games that they will, games that they may, and games that they won't win on today's episode. Cam, to jump right into this puppy, game 1, the games that Baylor will win. What do you foresee as a LOCKED parlay it all together?
Well, this is a problem because I definitely thought we were going in the reverse order. So as you can see from my tier 3, I put everyone else. So I'm going to go through that. So that would include...
Why wouldn't... We've got to bury the lead, man. We can't open with the...
Albany, Texas State, Kansas, at Texas Tech. And that's it. Those are my locks.
So you're telling me the floor for Baylor football is...
What's that, 5?
Is 4 and 8.
Yeah, they won't go worse than 4 than 8. Yeah, that's what I mean. I got a lot in the toss-up column. But that doesn't mean I don't think they're going to win it. You know what I mean? Like these ones, they are something would be seriously, seriously wrong if they did not win these games. That's how I approached it.
Right. Well, if you parlayed those, of course, the big game there would be Texas Tech on the road, where Baylor. Yep. I love that Texas Tech fans came after me a couple of days ago. We built those tier lists.
Like, do they not know their own?
Baylor has not won in Lubbock in 32 years. Baylor hasn't played in Lubbock in 32 years. They've been playing in Arlington since I was born. And
game. Yeah.
It's like, Baylor hasn't won in Provo since 1983.
Ooh. Dude. People forget.
They do. No one talks about that.
They haven't even won in their home stadium, Floyd Casey, since 2013.
That's not true.
People forget that.
Is that actually?
They have not won at Floyd Casey Stadium since 2013. Look it up.
Wow. That is big. That is big. I might tweet that later and see how many likes it gets. We'll see what we can get with that one. I definitely think those 3, Kansas, Texas State, Albany, pretty much locks in the category of going to win. Kansas at home, I do foresee a little bit more pushback, but in like a 35-14, which is exponentially better than Kansas usually does against Baylor. I don't think it's your 52-0, 52-3 blowout, but at the same time, I don't think it's close. I think it's a 3-touchdown game if Kansas plays well, which I hope they do. Are you also in the school of thought that like I enjoy when Kansas beats teams that aren't Baylor?
Well, yeah. I mean, who doesn't? Yeah. I mean, UT, I guess, but dude, I root for them. If they had beaten OU and UT last year, which they almost did, that would have been an all-time.
Oh, I forgot about that. They were up by like what, 21 in the third quarter or something?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm always rooting for them. It's crazy how much I root for them versus how little I root for their basketball team.
Yeah. Right. No, it is kind of nuts, the dichotomy there. I'll give you that. Speaking of dichotomy, great coffee. Those 3.
I don't have the coaster. Sorry.
Up easy. They've been awesome. Then Texas Tech actually did not make my list of locked wins this season.
They're getting to you, Drake. The people on Twitter, they're getting to you.
However, TCU did. did.
Okay. All right. This was one I went back and forth on too, but go ahead.
I parlayed TCU, Texas State, Albany, and Kansas as 4 games that Baylor will win this season. I think Texas Tech on the road. That's the one thing. Again, I am a Baylor home truther, road liar. What's the opposite of truther? Falser. I'm a Baylor road falser. Maybe. Yeah.
Sure.
It is guilty until proven innocent that Baylor is going to be able to win on the road. I don't know if any of that made sense, but I need
feel
like
you, Drake.
really
not a lot of confidence on the road.
I need solid proof that Baylor's going to go out on the road and be a world beater against teams, even if it's Texas Tech. Because you know why? West Virginia, I don't think it's going to be that great at football. I really don't. I think West Virginia is probably going to go 6-6, 7-5 this season, which is fine for them and Neil Brown. At the same time, Baylor might lose at West Virginia for sake of the fact that they struggled on the road almost always. So that's why I have Texas Tech in that toss-up category. But TCU at home, I just don't think TCU is very good at the whole football thing.
They're not. They're not going to be this year at all. And they don't have the advantage of that great cauldron home field advantage they play at with arguably the worst fans in the Big 12.
Yeah, they don't show up. Also,
Kansas doesn't count.
We need to do a throwaway episode, an episode that only airs if it's like an emergency. Yeah.
Well, that's where you have me for. Yeah.
That's not what we're doing right now. An episode that only airs in an emergency where we rank the top 10. We go from best to worst, Big 12 traditions. We're like Baylor line is 1 because I feel like that's almost objective. And then Riff Ram Bazoo is 10 because I'll like where I was 2019, the first time I ever heard it in person. When they do, I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know what was happening. It feels like a seance of sorts. And then Gary Patterson comes on the screen and says, "Give them hell, TCU," which is a weird thing. You know, if you break that down into "give them hell, Texas Christian University," questions. I have questions there. Also, they set like a 4-year-old in front of a microphone and said, "All right, create the greatest chant ever." The kid just starts mumbling, and they're like, that's it.
Remember when they did like the Baylor line at that game?
In 2019? No.
Yeah.
What?
They just like they had some like kids group and they were like, "All right, let's do it." And they just like ran across the field like the Baylor line did. We're like, what the hell is this?
There's like 7 people in the stands. There's no one at that game. It's 9-6 in the waning moments of the game. And then who but John Mayers, who's still on the team, by the way.
Crazy. That's a different episode.
Still
we can talk about John Mayers,
Baylor.
But that's nuts.
And then the overhits in the end. Oh, wouldn't you know, Tyquan Thornton. And that announcer too, Baylor, Bears, touchdown. Just only a word every few seconds. Wonderful.
He was so convinced the kicker's name was John Mayer, by the way.
He was
convinced, that announcer. Yeah.
Your body is a wonderland. That is one of the top. It was actually saw on a list the other day. One of the top 30 worst songs of all time. We
can't get into music. Really? I mean,
I know. Top 30 all time.
We're always talking about bad music, by the way.
Yeah.
Always talk about bad music.
Never say
I don't know.
Songs.
I'm not a John Mayer guy, but I've heard worse than that. Way worse than that. I've heard 30 worse than that for sure.
The big thing the big thing today is obviously the games that Baylor will lose, which I have a couple on there, by the way. A couple, that's a little hint, a little for later. But we've got to get into Baylor's maybe win, maybe lose games. But first, I've got to tell you about LinkedIn. LinkedIn Talent Solutions. All right, look, if you have a job and you are working said job and you think, I'm doing a lot of freaking work, would love an intern. I would just like an intern. I'm interning somewhere right now. Interns are great. They can be a handful, but I digress. Go to LinkedIn Jobs. As you gear up for the fall, you need the right people on your team to help you out. And everybody's looking for a fall internship. I just locked mine in with Waco Tours, by the way. And one of the big reasons why is LinkedIn Jobs. You create a free job post in minutes in LinkedIn Jobs. 810 million people, I can't even count that high, have used LinkedIn and LinkedIn Jobs to get jobs. Add your job to the purple hiring frame, and then from there, LinkedIn sends it to the right people to hire. Simple tools, screening questions, and make it easy to focus everything in, funnel it down. Small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number 1 in delivering hires and giving you the people that you need. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster, and every week, 40 million people visit LinkedIn. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege, linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, Cam, Baylor, will they win it? Will they lose it? Your list of games that, maybe not.
Well, this is the thickest of my 3 tiers, I think. Slightly thicker than definite wins. So first one I have.
A word that's not thick, by the way. I don't think I like that.
Thick.
Okay.
First one is at West Virginia. It's just tough. We've talked about it too much. Everyone knows Never won there. I also think they're going to have that TCU type of trend where they're not going to be good at football.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm pretty convinced of it, but I don't know. Another one that got into the comments last time we did a schedule breakdown, Kansas State at home.
Yeah. People really like Kansas State this year.
It's divisive. I like Kansas State too. I think Baylor's going to win that game. I wouldn't call it a lock, but I think they're going to win that game at home. Better team anyway.
Yeah.
But what was it? 6 all Big 12 selections, I believe, for Kansas State. Not bad. TCU at home. It's another one I'm going for.
Why is it a toss-up for you? Why is that a toss-up?
Because they never play well against TCU. That's all.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all. That theme will come in. That theme will come back later, by the way.
Yeah.
So I should say all of these I actually would bet on Baylor to win. Okay. Hence why I didn't put them in the definite loss.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be shocked if they lose. That being said, at Oklahoma, also in the maybe list. I predicted in my Inside the Bears this week. By the way, I wrote all the predictions for Oklahoma this week, and I get to do a deep dive into the Sooners. I went into this thinking, I don't know why people are so high on Oklahoma with all that they lost. I get that they have talent and they should be there because they're Oklahoma. They've got a good team, and I think they'll probably have a good coach. They'll be there. But like most polls, they're ranked ahead of Baylor, these mock preseason polls in the top 10. And I'm like, you think you're going to get like 2019 Dylan Gabriel? Like he's 4 years removed from that, and he broke his clavicle on his throwing side.
Yeah.
Like he's not just going to come back and be chucking it. So I don't.
Was that a Brewer? Is that a Brewer reference right there? Was that a?
Yeah, sure.
Because chucking it. Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to be that good. And we have seen Dave Aranda recently coach against Jeff Lebby. Didn't turn out well for Jeff Lebby. So I think Baylor's going to win that game. It's going to be tight, that home field advantage, but I think they're going to win. And then my last one on the maybe, which again, I think is a Baylor victory at home against Oklahoma State. Again, I don't know how to break this down more simple to people. Spencer Sanders sucks.
Watch out. He'll DM you.
I don't want any of that. Don't want any Cape League drama here. But like you said it last time, you were like, okay, maybe I only watch him against Baylor, but every time I see him, he sucks. I've watched him outside of the Baylor games. He's still not that good. He definitely sucks hard against Baylor. But I just don't get like the hype with Spencer Sanders. They had a good team last year, but that defense was incredible, and I got to give him credit. He had a good game against Notre Dame, obviously. They scored 37, 38 points, whatever it was. But he's a turnover machine, and I think they're going to be even more one-dimensional than they were last year. So, again, not a blowout, but I think Baylor's going to win that one. So that does it for my maybes. That's Oklahoma State at OU, TCU and Kansas State both at home, and at West Virginia.
I am shocked. I'm shocked at the teams that have now that I've done the process of elimination and gotten your teams that are definite losses. I am going to push back on a team that you did not name in your maybes and put as my number one, because I think the game at Texas, huge maybe for me. And Cam, we talked about this the last episode. You're kind of going back on this. Texas is the last game of the season. If they march into that game at 9-2, their year is over. They don't really have anything to play for, even with 2 losses. Why would they care? Baylor marches in at 9-2. Baylor's got a much different mindset. In like 9-2 for Baylor is, hey, this is like a historically really good year, one of our top 5 seasons all time. So you see 9-2 Baylor has a lot more to play for than 9-2 Texas, who wanted to go to the college football playoff. So I don't see Texas having too much to play for in that game. By the time you get there, I don't even know if they'll be 9-2. I think that would be it'd be a really good season for a Texas team that I don't think it's going to be near as good as all the hype. Oh, that's new. Texas not meeting the hype? Oh,
what?
So I'm going the game at Texas in my toss-up category. Game against Kansas State at home. That is also going my toss-up category. I think Baylor wins it again because it's at home. That stretch of games is not easy with on the road Texas Tech, on the road Oklahoma, Kansas State coming to your house without really a break in there. So I think the Kansas State game is a win because the game before it is a loss. We'll get there later. Kansas State, though, they're going to be solid. They're going to be very formidable. But Dave Aranda has yet to lose against the Wildcats. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he just hates Wildcats or that's a thing for him. But even 2-7, one of those wins was against Kansas State.
Ran the Kansas gamut. Yep.
Just doesn't really make a ton of sense there, but it's what happened. Game at West Virginia, also a big toss-up in my brain. Oklahoma State, there's another big toss-up. You get them at home. I do think Baylor wins because Spencer Sanders, they're not my locks to – they're kind of one of those fringe teams to make it into the lock to win just because Spencer Sanders is so bad against Baylor. You've already talked plenty about West Virginia. Iowa State game at Iowa State, also in my toss-ups because –
oh, they've got to be they're in my toss-up too. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't mention that. That's not a definite loss. Sorry about that.
Hope you missed that.
There.
I don't. Another scenario like West Virginia, where I do not think this team is going to be great. They're not going to be good at football. They weren't good last year, and they were supposed to have their greatest season of all time, and they just weren't that good. So I don't see them being great. It's on the road, which gives me some worry. That's why it's not a definite win. But game at Iowa State, again, they're going to have the worst quarterback probably in the Big 12 this year. They're maybe the only Big 12 team who I couldn't name a single quarterback on their roster. So could you?
No.
It's bad. We should be able to do that.
For Iowa State.
No, we should be able to do that, but I can't do it.
Brooks or something? Brooks something? Is that right?
Yes.
Or am I just thinking of Brock Purdy?
No. Yeah, Brooks. That guy gonna tear it up if his parents listening.
Brooks in the Shawshank Redemption for sure.
I had a bird. Jake the Raven. Yeah, I've seen that movie. Get busy living. Get busy dying. So there it is. That is my list of toss-ups, meaning I have two teams in my guaranteed loss. I'm guaranteeing 2 losses for Baylor this season. And if those toss-ups are tossed up and they go, even 500 in those, you're looking at an 8-4 Baylor team next season. And before we get into our definite losses for Baylor, I've got to get into Bet Online. Oh boy. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Bet Online. Spectacular. BetOnline.net. It's the fastest, easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. So you find your favorite sports, your favorite events, #1 source for odds for everything from ping pong to track and field to football to basketball to college, everything. Baylor football right now. You can go right now and see the line between Baylor and who they play? Albany, round 1. Oh, that line's bad. It's got to. I haven't even checked it. Gotta be bad. BetOnline.net. It's got podcasts to certain shows and things to help you become a master better. Major League Baseball, NHL, NFL, NBA, combat sports, esports. They've got golf. Everything's all at betonline.net. Go check it out. Interface is super easy to use. They've got those podcasts we already mentioned before. Head to BetOnline today with your mobile device to learn more. Just go right now. Take your mobile device out while you're listening to the podcast on the Spotify or Apple podcast, whatever it is. BetOnline.net. It is where the game starts. All right, Cam, you have 2, I have 2. We're both sitting on if Baylor wins all of their toss-ups, wins all of them, which it's a lot to comprehend for me. They have 10 wins. What are their 2 locked on losses?
I got to be honest with you, Drake.
Be honest with me, Cam.
I'm being a little disingenuous here because when I look at Baylor's schedule,
you're about to crap all over everything. You're about
in August here now, just into the second week of August. I look at Baylor's schedule and I see no definite losses, and by that I mean I think they can beat any team, just the way we see it right now. Of course, this could all go haywire. The receivers could never get open.
You're just saying words.
That could happen.
You're just saying words right now.
But the way I look
trying to
at
save
my
your
Baylor
butt.
Bears historically is why I picked these 2 losses. I picked my #1 hardest game for them, and I'm going to give the same reasons why. Week 2 at BYU. Again, I think a game Baylor could win. There's a lot of question marks for BYU as well. But as we talked about, first real tough road environment for Blake Shapen. Team that's going to be in the top 25, I think, BYU, who had a good, tough team last year. Okay. And
they have the Romneys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mitt Romney.
He's going to be charged up. There's a little bit of unfamiliarity there, although they did play last year. And BYU hung pretty tough in that game for a while. And they couldn't cover that guy. I don't even know if he's on the team anymore, which is not good, but sure. Yeah, whatever. The #3 guy. But I worry about that game in terms of a home field advantage for sure. I know that sounds hypocritical saying I don't believe in Oklahoma's, but I think BYU has a better offense than Oklahoma does, at least on paper, because I don't think Dylan Gabriel is going to come back and be Dylan Gabriel. If he does come back and be 2019, then yes, Oklahoma's a better offense. So
can I throw this out too? I think BYU has a better atmosphere. I think they have a better, probably a more intimidating away atmosphere.
They would be more up for it. They would be more up for it than
it's like a midnight game in the mountains, and those crazy BYU fans, their drinking habits. Dr. Pepper
liquoring up all day.
This is the reason that the hat is on the top of my head, and I am obviously vehement. Cam, who's your other auto loss?
And again, Drake, this is going off what I've seen from Baylor over the years, and I don't want this to happen because I'll be at this game. And it's my least favorite team on the list. So I really want Baylor to win this game. But I have a bad feeling at UT November the 26th, 27th, whatever it is. I have a bad feeling, Drake. I just do. I was there in 2016. That was a nightmare of a game. That Baylor was the better team and lost. And
what about 2013? Last game of the season, Baylor wins.
Yeah, that was great. I wasn't there. But I said it last time we talked about the schedule. There is an alternate universe where Quinn Ewers is really good, and Texas is good because of it.
Yeah, well, you're picking that to be this universe, not even alternate universe.
I think maybe going against your point, they're going to be playing with house money, and to get one over what they see as little brother is going to feel good. I don't want Baylor to lose that. And honestly, if you put a knife to my throat, I'd probably actually pick Baylor to win. But they don't play well against UT, even in the good years. Even in the good years. That game was in doubt in the fourth quarter last year.
Yeah, it really was.
Baylor was a much better team. So in 2019, it took them a while to pull away at home again. So I'm just a little worried about it, Drake. That's all. I'm just a little worried about it.
That is the one thing I could reason with you.
I just don't see as I said, I can see them winning every game as I look at it right now. There's none where I'm like, definitely no way they win this. But I also don't see them going 12-0.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I think they're going to, they lose that early game. People kind of forget about them. Then they come in hot. They go on this big winning streak and you trip over molehills, not mountains, Drake. That could be the TCU game last year as UT this year.
12-0 is a lot, asking for a lot. The reason I can reckon with your Texas is if that becomes the big game that Baylor has to win. We've seen them lose that must-win big game in the past. Yeah. 2019 they did it twice. So that was even last year TCU was like, hey, you just kind of default have to win this game. They just didn't do it. Oklahoma State on the road. So maybe you get a must win where Baylor's 11-0, and that's just a big fat stinker that keeps you out of the playoff. Ugh, that'd be heartbreaking. I hope it doesn't happen.
Never get over it.
My two, dos mio. Yeah, is that right? I think that's right.
Sure.
BYU on the road. Baylor's going to lose that game. I think Baylor is bigger, stronger, more athletic, but gosh, that atmosphere is going to be insane. Impeccable. I might go. I'd love to go. So give me Baylor losing in Provo, Utah, because BYU, unlike my other loss, I do think the players, coaching staff, fans are going to want revenge. This is like we got to prove that we're going to be great in the Big 12. There's a lot riding for them on this game, whereas for Baylor, it's not the luster of beating BYU in Provo. And
that wouldn't be bad for Baylor, actually. I don't think if they lose. I mean, it's a loss, so it's not good, but it's not a conference game.
Right.
BYU's in a weaker conference. They're going to be in the rankings probably most of the year if they're as good as we think.
They're not in a conference.
Right. Correct.
Anyway. Yeah. Right. They're independent.
I don't know why I said that. Yeah. I mean, I meant to say they have an easier schedule than Baylor. So they will. So they'll probably be in the rankings most of the year if they're as good as we think they are. They pretty much were last year too. And it's one of those things where it's like you don't have the pressure on a young quarterback of being 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, which of course we would rather be, but maybe that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Not the worst thing, I should say. It's not good to lose.
My other loss, this one kind of becomes, it's because of where it is in the schedule. You go at West Virginia, Kansas at home, at Texas Tech. And so you played the last 3 weeks, you get into the gauntlet of the conference schedule, so everybody's kind of worn out. You go on the road to Oklahoma. I think they will have put it together more so by then. This could be a 3-loss Oklahoma team playing a 1-loss Baylor team. And I just see it being one of those funky noon games where you're like, well, that game sucked, and Oklahoma wins it close in the end. There's always one of those somewhere in the Big 12 where it's this random noon game where two of the teams are pretty good, like an Iowa State at 1 loss and a 2-loss, I don't know, Oklahoma State.
I was going to say last year, undefeated Oklahoma State and Iowa State.
Yeah. So it's to me like it is it's going to be one of those forgettable. If Baylor lost that game.
I think if OU even doesn't have a really great offense, which I think is true, I don't think they're going to have a very good offense. They will have figured out their strengths by then.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think those are smart coaches on that staff. So they'll put together a game plan.
Defense. That's what they have. Also, before we get out of here, I was at a baseball game the other day on the Cape Cod Baseball League. By the way, Harbor Hawks are in the Western Division Championship. I heard a chant at Bourne. One fan said, "I say let's, you say go." Freaking awesome.
That is great.
Awesome. They got the fan. They got him going. I don't know what it is. Good. Provocative. I say let's, you say go. I'm Drew Toll. That's Cam Stewart. He's from Inside the Bears. Go follow him at Real Cam Stewart.
Honestly,
at Real Cam Stew.
It's great stuff.
RC Stew. When we come back tomorrow, we're going to have more Baylor football talking about it. It's August. It's almost football season. It basically is football time. This has been, always will be, it's going to continue to be forever and ever and ever, Locked On Baylor.